We are back with more Mountain Connections live on this Thursday morning, and right now we are going to discuss affordable housing is a problem right here in Park City as we see our housing prices skyrocket by as much as 65% over the past year. Many individuals that live and work in Park City, they actually can't live here because it's too expensive. And there's a new proposal of a development called Highland Flats, which is expected to go in hopefully by I-40 and I-80. Adam Breen of Breen Homes is joining us today. Adam, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. What a beautiful bluebird day to be on, right?
Absolutely. Tell me more about this affordable housing development and why you decided as an individual, as an owner, to become a part of this.
Yeah, so as economic studies show, Park City and Summit County has just had an influx of growth. I mean, much of Utah is seeing the same thing, but it's kind of been aware, watching the trajectories and graphs, that the bigger spread of affordable housing continues to get worse and worse and worse. And the more influx of workforce, people that are working in the industry to keep Park City afloat, continues to grow. So more people are coming in, yet the affordability and ability to have them live in town is getting much less. And it's getting to a point to where Park City and Summit County have started calling this a crisis. It's no longer a problem, it's a crisis that they need to solve. So as we've owned this piece of land for some time now and looked for areas that we think it would best suit and best be used for Park City, we've come to follow through studies and economics that affordability and workforce housing is truly the way to go.
It absolutely is. And tell me more specifically about this development. I believe it's all rentals. There's also a church that's being proposed to be a part of this.
Yes, so this development is 41 acres, like you'd mentioned, just off the south side of I-80 and west side of I-40. We're proposing 410 rental units. Of those, 35%, so 144 units, would be deed restricted at an affordable rate between 30 and 80% AMI. For those that don't understand AMI, because you hear these percentages and just think, well, great, what does that mean? A 30% AMI, one bedroom, one bathroom unit would rent at $595 a month. So very affordable. It's also not to mention that another 45% of the development would be between moderately affordable. So that's in between 80 and 120% affordable units. So really only 20% of this subdivision or this residential proposed development would be market rate.
And tell me a little bit more about the specific location of this development.
Yeah, so this location is just off Highland Drive. Like I said, it backs up to I-80 and I-40. It is in the Highland Estates area. It's a residential zoned area. What we are proposing is residential. There's been some question to the zone change, which we're looking for is called community commercial. Community commercial allows us to get the density and affordability that we need to build this residential development. So some of the questions that's kind of come into play as we've seen this media blast go out and the public getting involved is, if they open up this wide zoning concept of community commercial, what if, as a developer, we come and decide to go wild with it? So we have been discussing with the county doing a development agreement that would keep this a residential development and at that 400 units.
And there's a public hearing coming up next week. What else needs to happen? What stages is this development in right now? Is it just the proposed stage? Is it getting to planning stage? Where is it at?
Yeah, very early. We've been working on this project for over 4 years now, so it's hard to say very early, but it's still very early in the development aspect. So this is just a proposal. What we need to do is go through a general plat amendment, a zone change, and then do a subdivision. So we've got a long road ahead of us. Tuesday, what's coming up is a planning commission meeting or hearing where the public can be involved. They can state their opinion. They can, come up and say they're against it, or they can come up and say they're for it. It matters both ways. It truly does. Once we get through planning commission, we've got to go through a city council for final approval or denial. And then whatever moves forward from there will either address the application or continue forward with development.
And Adam, you mentioned that you've been working on this for over 4 years. What are some obstacles that you think you will encounter, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you face in making this a reality?
The problem for most developers is we're always kind of chasing a moving target. 4 years ago, if you look at some of the studies and the economics, there was this belief that affordability it's always been an issue, but workforce housing was an issue. It wasn't amongst the top issues in the area. Over the last 4 years and time has gone by, we've seen the economics change to affordability and workforce housing being a major issue. So as we continue to kind of maneuver and time becomes of the essence, things can change, concepts can change, needs for the area can change. So as a developer, we're always chasing what might be needed a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. If you look at other developments that have been approved that include workforce or affordable housing, many of them are hitting AMIs only as low as about 80%. No one, and you can state this, no one has gone below a 40% AMI. So for us offering multiple units at 30 and 40% AMI is really unheard of. And that's really where we see this moving target that we just need to hit the bullseye right away on.
And it can be really tough for a community really to function if it only has rental properties for high-end resort individuals that are visiting. You touched on this briefly, but I'm curious about a little bit more about how the community is shaped, especially if you don't have an opportunity to provide people with affordable housing and people that work here to participate within our community.
Yeah, communities are made up of many walks of people. You can't just have the well-off, the second home people that come in to enjoy the resort. Resorts are run by the workforce. If you split the workforce down the middle, there's somewhere above 26,000 jobs in Park City, Summit County area. Well over 50% of those would fall within the workforce category. If those people can't afford to live within their community, they're forced to push further and further out. And at some time it was, hey, they can live in Salt Lake City, they can live in Midway. Now those areas are getting more and more expensive as you listen to economics. So there was just recently an article and data released in Salt Lake saying that the workforce could no longer live East Bench. They're being pushed further and further west. As the commute gets further, these people are going to start saying it's not worth it. For the wage I'm being paid, I can't afford the vehicle, the gas, the time to drive all the way up to Park City. I'm going to take a job somewhere more local to where I'm at. And that's not to mention, it is harsh on the environment to have 15, 16, 17,000 workforce employees commuting in, an hour drive a day going up and down the canyon.
And I want to point out, some people might be curious about the kickbacks that the developers may be getting from this, but in fact, there will be no tax credit for the developers within this project.
Yeah, correct. I haven't been shy as we've been doing this press release to say, I am a developer and I am in this for profit. Let's get that elephant out of the room. But I also recognize in order to try to get a development like this pushed through and achieve a goal of a need in Park City, you have to give back. And so we've looked for multiple ways of where we could give back. Offering 80% of our project becomes either affordable or moderately affordable, and doing the math on that, that's a huge give back out of the pockets of the developer or the long-term owner that is a loss, showing a deed restriction on those rental units. Further, we're not asking for any tax credits. Multiple other developments do ask for those. I know that the town of Park City recently has done a study for their park district, trying to do some affordable housing there. And they've found even with partnering with a nonprofit, partnering with a developer, they still can't offer homes for under $600,000. It just goes to show that the cost of land is so expensive, the burden of building is so expensive that it makes it near impossible to get down into those affordability ranges that we are achieving. So a lot of people have come back and said, then how, if you're not getting tax credits, if you're not getting kickbacks, how are you doing this? We've truly found that where we got in this piece of land early enough, where it's zoned, very rural residential at this point. The previous owners thought they didn't want to deal with this long-term, uphill course that it would take to get there. We landed at a good enough price that we believe we can offer some of these things back to the community to allow getting to a point to achieve that end goal.
And Adam, where can we get more information about this development, specifically also about this proposed public hearing? It's actually not proposed, public hearing that's coming up next week. And if we are concerned or have any things that we want to make sure are heard throughout the process of planning for this development as community members.
Yeah, we've got a website, highlandflatspc.com, that you can jump on. That's got really good information. There's also a survey on there that you can take that gives you the ability to leave us your opinion, and those emails do come directly to me, and I am going through every one of them and trying to understand how we can try to do some smart development and help the community as well. Following the planning commission on the 23rd, I believe that's slated for 6:30 p.m. that night. You can email the county with concerns and questions that you may have. You can also speak publicly at that meeting. Again, we're not going to shy away from wanting to hear from the public. I believe as a developer that comes in and tries to develop and help shape a community, the only way to do smart development is have criticism and constructive criticism that gives us good direction. We can't do well when we're just told, I don't like it, I don't want to have it. We can do well when people turn around and give us valid reason or things that would really help their community because they know it so well. So I would encourage the public to submit us a survey, reach out to the planning commission and submit comments because we do see those. And I've continued to keep myself updated and a part of those to understand what they are and look for the comments that can help us continue to shape around this development of how it might look.
Well, thank you so much, Adam Breen, for joining us from Breen Homes to talk about this affordable housing community called Highland Flats Park City. Hoping to go in shortly. If you have any concerns, please reach out through that website. Make sure that your voice is heard. And we're looking forward to more updates from Adam as this project continues. We'll be back with more right after this.